and I'm going a whole other way. To have the sitting Attorney General go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information, and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing.
Jasmine Crockett just accused the Attorney General of threatening a sitting member of Congress, and the hearing instantly exploded into chaos. This exchange is going viral for a reason.
Thank the chairman. I now recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee, Jasmine Crockett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I first just want to begin with a news alert. Guess what? Joe Biden is not the president anymore. So maybe we can move on. Maybe we can move into the present, because it seems like we are living in the past. And listen, these are not the good old days, you know, like you used to sit around and your grandparents would talk to you about what used to happen. What we need to be talking about is how we are going to legislate, because I think that some of my colleagues have confused what our jobs are. And I get that we're sitting in Judiciary. And so it may seem as if we are here to be litigators, but we are here to be legislators, which means that we are supposed to be writing laws, not trying to have our own trials and determine whether or not something is true or not, or whatever the case is, or who should be sued, who shouldn't be sued. All I know is that a great American hero, a good senator out of New Jersey, said something to the effect yesterday as he was shattering the record for holding the floor, a record that had been held by another racist in this country. As he shattered that, he said something about the fact that this should not be about left versus right. It should be about right versus wrong. And I am going to tell you that I want us to focus on right versus wrong. The reason that we are struggling right now in this country as it relates to people not trusting agencies, honestly, a lot of it is because of elected leaders. Let me tell you, one of the things that the chairman and I actually agree upon, we don't agree on a lot, is that we both know that there has been a sharp incline as it relates to threats upon our lives. Regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on, we both know and agree that as sitting members of Congress, we both are enduring more death threats than anybody should in this country. And I believe that it is because of the divisive rhetoric, and it is because of the selective enforcement of things. And so when we have, and I'm gonna be clear, because I had remarks and I'm going a whole other way. To have the sitting Attorney General go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information, and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook, because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him, because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law. The reason that our party, or I won't even say our party, our country is torn apart is because we can't even agree on right versus wrong. This should not be left versus right. The only thing that we're asking is that we have law enforcement that will show up when there is an actual crime. If somebody calls and says, hey, I need you to investigate this cyber crime, or I need you to investigate this child pornography, or I need you to investigate this robbery, then we want somebody to show up, and we don't want them to look at us and act as if just because I'm black or because I'm woman that I am not worthy of having that case investigated, because we have an administration that is continuously railing against diversity, equity, and inclusion, or we don't need people that show up that feel like diversity should not be valued. That is why we should have somebody that may show up and looks like me. The final thing that I'll say, because you've been gracious, is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. When I walk in, I'm going to walk in with a level of rapport and understanding that maybe some of my other colleagues will not. Charlie offered me my job, and I worked my butt off, and I worked really, really hard for all of my clients, not just those that look like me, and that is what it looks like to serve. Thank you.
Tonight's hearing delivered one of the most explosive political moments we've seen in Congress this year. And Rep. Jasmine Crockett made absolutely sure everyone in that room heard her message loud and clear. From the very beginning, Crockett came in swinging. She opened with a line that immediately changed the energy inside the hearing room. Joe Biden is not the president anymore. That wasn't just a transition line. It was a direct shot at Republicans she believes are still politically campaigning against the previous administration instead of governing in the present. But what made this moment stand out wasn't just the rhetoric, it was the intensity behind it. Crockett argued that Congress has drifted away from legislating and moved into nonstop political theater. According to her, lawmakers are acting more like courtroom litigators than legislators. And whether viewers agree or disagree, it's clear she was trying to frame the hearing as a warning about where American politics is headed. Then the hearing escalated. The Congresswoman pivoted into a deeply personal and politically charged accusation against Attorney General Pam Bondi, claiming Bondi used a Fox News appearance to send what Crockett described as a threat toward her against. That accusation instantly changed the atmosphere. Crockett argued that when the nation's top law enforcement official publicly targets elected officials, it creates a dangerous environment, especially at a time when members of Congress from both parties are already receiving increasing death threats. And that became one of the core themes of her speech: fear, division, and distrust. She repeatedly returned to the phrase, this should not be left versus right. It should be right versus wrong. That line is likely going to become one of the defining soundbites from this hearing because it encapsulated the broader message she was trying to send. But then came the section that's already exploding across social media. Crockett turned directly toward billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk and unleashed a blistering critique. She openly declared, I don't like Elon Musk. Not once, not subtly, directly and repeatedly. She accused Musk of operating above the law, criticized his federal influence, attacked his government relationships, and questioned why federal resources appear to protect his interests in ways ordinary Americans could never access. Whether viewers see that as political honesty or political overreach, there's no denying the clip is tailor-made for viral debate online. And then she clarified one of the most controversial issues surrounding her recent remarks. Crockett defended previous comments she made supporting protests against Musk, insisting she specifically encouraged peaceful demonstrations and advised people to consult lawyers before engaging